Imagine this. Just a few centuries ago, the land we now call the United States wasn't filled with skyscrapers, highways, or Hollywood dreams. It was wilderness. Forests, rivers, and vast open plains stretched for miles, home to powerful native tribes and a few struggling European settlements. Nobody, absolutely nobody, could have guessed that this wild territory would one day become the world's most dominant superpower. So how did it happen? How did America go from zero to superpower in just a few hundred years? Buckle up, because this is one of the most unbelievable stories in history. Our story begins in 1607, when a group of British settlers landed at Jamestown, Virginia. These weren't warriors or kings, just desperate people chasing a new life across the ocean. Disease, starvation, and conflict almost wiped them out. But here's the thing about America. From the very beginning, it's been built on grit. When things looked impossible, people fought harder. That survival instinct became the foundation of what America would one day stand for. Fast forward a century. The colonies had grown, 13 of them, rich in resources but trapped under British control. Heavy taxes, strict trade rules, and no voice in government. You know the saying, no taxation without representation? That wasn't just a slogan. It was a rebellion waiting to explode. And explode it did. In 1775, the American Revolution began. Picture it, a bunch of farmers and tradesmen taking on the most powerful empire on Earth. Britain had cannons, ships, and money. The colonies had determination and an unshakable belief in freedom. Against all odds, they won. By 1783, the impossible had happened. The United States of America was born, but independence was just the beginning. The country was poor, divided, and unsure of its future. So the founding fathers, Washington, Jefferson, Franklin, and others, came together to design something revolutionary, a government of the people, by the people, for the people. The U.S. Constitution wasn't just a document. It was a bold experiment in democracy, one that would inspire nations across the globe. Then came the 1800s, a century of explosive growth. America doubled its size with the Louisiana Purchase, sent explorers like Lewis and Clark into the wild unknown, and embraced the belief in manifest destiny, the idea that the nation was destined to stretch from the Atlantic to the Pacific. But that dream had a dark side. Expansion brought conflict with Native Americans and fierce debates over slavery. These divisions grew so deep that in 1861, America tore itself apart. The Civil War began, the bloodiest conflict in its history. When it ended in 1865, slavery was abolished, but the scars ran deep. Yet out of that pain came a stronger, more united America. And then, something incredible happened. Industry exploded. Railroads stitched the country together. Steel, oil, and factories transformed cities into powerhouses. Innovators like Thomas Edison and Henry Ford redefined the world with inventions that changed everyday life. Immigrants poured in by the millions, chasing one shining dream, the American dream. For the first time, America wasn't just surviving, it was thriving. By the early 1900s, the United States had become a rising power. When World War I erupted, America tried to stay out, but in 1917 it joined the fight and turned the tide. When the war ended, the world knew America was not just a nation, it was a force to be reckoned with. The Roaring Twenties followed, a decade of jazz, skyscrapers, and booming confidence. But then came the Great Depression, a crushing economic collapse that brought the country to its knees. People lost everything. Yet again, America refused to give up. Under President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the New Deal gave people jobs, hope, and a second chance. Then came World War II, and the ultimate test. While Europe burned, America became the arsenal of democracy, producing tanks, planes, and weapons faster than anyone thought possible. When the war ended in 1945, two things were clear. America had helped save the world from tyranny, and it had emerged as the new global leader. The era of American superpower had begun. But power comes with rivals. The Soviet Union rose to challenge the US, leading to a decades-long standoff known as the Cold War. It wasn't fought with bombs. It was fought with ideology, technology, and influence. The two superpowers raced to build nukes, expand their allies, and perhaps most famously, conquer space. When Neil Armstrong set foot on the moon in 1969 and said, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind," it wasn't just a victory for science. It was a symbolic moment that screamed, America leads the future. By the late 20th century, the Cold War ended, the Soviet Union collapsed, and the United States stood alone at the top. The economy boomed, technology exploded, and American culture, movies, music, fast food, fashion, the internet, spread across every corner of the planet. Silicon Valley created giants like Apple, Microsoft, and Google. The military remained unmatched. The dollar became the global currency. From Wall Street to Hollywood, the world spoke the language of America. But here's the real question. What truly made America a superpower? Was it its weapons? Its wealth? Or was it something deeper, an idea? The belief that anyone from anywhere could rise, dream, and build something great. That idea of freedom, opportunity, and reinvention has powered America from the start. Of course, the journey hasn't been perfect. The US has faced political divisions, wars, inequality, and global challenges. But time and again, it adapts, it innovates, it reinvents itself. Because that's what America does best, turning struggle into strength, failure into progress, and dreams into reality. Today, new powers are rising, the world is changing fast, and the challenges are bigger than ever. But one thing remains. The story of how America went from struggling colonies to the world's most powerful nation isn't just history. It's proof that vision, courage, and resilience can change the course of the world. From wilderness to world stage, from 13 tiny colonies to a global empire of ideas, this is how America became a superpower. And the most incredible part? The story isn't over yet. The next chapter of American history is still being written.